Hello, I am joined on the Zoom by comedian, writer, actor, fellow podcaster and big-time brightener up of my time on the internet, Stevie Martin. Stevie, hello.
Hello. It's a very nice intro, thank you.
Well, it's very nice that you appear on my timeline. I mean, the Twitter timeline of doom, and then you pop up and I'm like, this is going to be fun.
Oh, I'm glad I'm still popping up. I just thought that it was only like Nazis popping up now.
Yeah, I forgot to say friend of Elon. That should have been in the intro as well.
Yes. I'm his daughter.
Wow.
And that's, yeah. Oh, Dad.
What are you playing at? You are, Stevie Martin, a bona fide COVID-born internet sensation. How do you feel about that?
I don't think that is correct, but that's very kind. It also makes it sound like I was made and created from a lab in Wuhan.
Millions of people, and we're talking like 45 million watched you and Lola Rose Maxwell in sketches that satirise our increasing obsession with our phones and the digital modern world during lockdown. Can you give listeners a little précis of what you two take the piss out of, please?
Yeah, it's funny because we didn't intend to get into that such niche territory. We started before lockdown. I was like, I think I'm going to do some online stuff in 2019. I was like, I think I'm going to do some online stuff. And so me and Lena did some sketches. Actually, the first ones were just about I think I was acting and doing self-tapes, and they were about those going wrong, and then trying to take a photo of yourself and things like that. And they didn't really do anything. And then when lockdown happened, obviously I wasn't doing anything other than Zooms, and I was just on my computer or on my phone all day. So then we started to do sketches about that. So the first one, the first one that went viral was about trying to get paid as a freelancer because a certain women's magazine hadn't paid me for 7 months because I used to be a journalist. And I was just so bored and so angry, and they wrote it. But then the one that went insanely viral, millions and millions, was about how when you try and do anything on the internet, you have to do the capture code to verify that you're not a robot.
Are you a robot?
So yes. So we did one about are you or are you not a robot, and that did very, very well. And then basically the general theme is tends to be I would say it's observations about life, but actually our Western life, our life is so rooted in tech. So buying stuff is now buying stuff online, and that's incredibly frustrating and annoying. To try to return something, not actually trying to just post anything. There's 70 different postal services now that all require different drop-off lockers. It's just mad. And also then when the world was opening up again after lockdown, then you had stuff trying to order drinks with QR codes when the waiters are right there, and you're like, no, but can you just get me, I can't, there's not, and they're like, no, sorry, you have to use the app. And that came from my dad's birthday, and we were all just trying to order stuff. My dad was just like, I don't want to do it. And it's right, this is actually very good. And then we tried to book our first holiday after, and then just the booking of the flights was everything's actually a nightmare now. So, that's what the sketches are rooted in, yeah.
So they're born of genuine frustration.
I feel like all good comedy is born from someone being like, that is so annoying. Even if they don't present it like that. It's got to be extreme emotion. I don't think anything's born from, isn't that nice?
That is true, actually. Nice things, it's like reviewers. You can have much more fun writing a mean review than a nice review. Although I would say if you're going to be mean, don't put it down in writing. But, that doesn't mean to say I've not done it in the past and had a lovely time. So now there is 8.5 minutes of joy / digital frustration with Screen Time, a YouTube pilot of what you describe as a sketch show for people who can't get off their phones to watch on their phones so they can have a laugh about phones. I watched it on my laptop. Am I in trouble?
Yeah. The headache that we had about how to make it work on a laptop and also work on a phone. It just doesn't look as good on a laptop. It looks like I don't know what YouTube is. So I've been so stressed about it. That's why that's the only reason we put to watch on your phone, because when you watch it full screen on your phone, it does look like it was meant to look. But you can still watch it on your laptop. You watch it on TV. I mean, it looks terrible, but you can.
I had a lovely time. I think it worked really well.
Good.
I couldn't turn my laptop round quite as easily because there's a bit where
Yes.
it changes
There's
direction.
there's a portrait lock joke, which people were like, that, and then on YouTube people were commenting like, yeah, that was a bit annoying. It was like, that is the point. Okay.
Was it strange making something so much longer? Because I know it takes probably, I think I read in an interview, it takes you and Lola a day to do a sketch that gets honed down to a very tight, very sharp 2 minutes. And this is 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, it'd be longer. So that actually, sort of now, if we haven't done one in a while because I've been working on this, but like if we do them, it takes me like, I don't know, half a day to kind of like write it, then look back at it, add jokes, and then maybe like 40 minutes to an hour to actually film it, because we basically just do the script and then we'll do some like improv things. It tends to be quite scripted. And then but then the editing is the thing that takes the longest by far. So we will have written a 5-minute thing and then you just have to like cut it down. But yeah, this was absurd. Also because like the production company approached me in April with something completely different. And then I was like, I don't really want to do that. I'd like to do this. I was going to do like a sketch show just for like loads of people that I know and it'd be really fun. But then as I was writing it, I was like, I just want to work with Lola because she's great. Feels like the right thing to do because these sketches have done well. So why do something completely different?
Yeah.
And to be honest, even if I wanted to, I don't think I could have, because at that point I was in that mode. Like, they didn't take a long time to like write the first few drafts because it was just like one of our sketches. But it was so fun to be able to just like do whatever, because it's not on. We film the sketches on Zoom, and I do the graphics and stuff as well, and they're very limited because I'm very bad. But to know that we could do anything, so some of the stuff that I wrote in, we couldn't achieve in the final thing. Like there's loads of like odd jokes in the background meant to be going on that just didn't work because we didn't have the budget, and you know, like but it was really fun to be able to be like, what if we do this, and and then we're in a different location and you can see our bodies. Like, but then also trying to figure out how to go into the phones and switch between phones and actual like us looking at our phones in normal life was so hard, because with the sketches you're just in it and you can just like be like, everyone understands the context, but it's really hard not to make it look lame. So I really hope that we've done that in a way that doesn't make it look lame. That's because we've got this great editor, and the guy who directed it called Andrew Nolan, who's just brilliant. And I was like, I can't visualize things unless I've seen it, so I was like, I don't know. And he like helped like the editing took so long that by the time it came out I was really worried that loads of stuff will have dated, because obviously the world is moving so fast. And already in between filming it and it coming out, I would have done something about Be Real, that the new sort of social media app that like I'm on, and like it's like there were loads of things I was like, I could have done more on that, and then TikTok sort of changed. But we'd kind of so that's the challenge of like trying to put online stuff into something longer, because the whole nature of it is it's so throwaway and fast, and then one day there's a big story and the next day no one's talking about it anymore, and it's really cringe to talk about it. So it's really hard. Lots of producers were asking me to do stuff about online trends, and it's like, by the time you've put it on YouTube you look like a 70-year-old person, like who has no idea about online.
Yeah, it's like when I list the various social platforms that I will and won't use, and I still say you're not going to get me on Snapchat. I don't even think that's a thing anymore. That's how out of touch I am. I'm like, do the kids still Snapchat? I don't know.
I don't even know. And also the fact that I'm doing, like, thankfully now, because I'm older, it's like the audience is sort of squarely like millennials. Like, I'm not going to pretend to write a sketch show for Gen Z because they don't watch them. Like, it's not. I was like, yeah, I'm too old, like, and that's fine. So it's good to actually finally be a bit older, and not, even when I was like in my 20s, the whole thing was like, we've got to get the 18-year-old, and you're like, I don't know how to do it. They don't care.
No.
So it's quite comfortable now to be like, I'm just doing it for people, like anyone who would like to have a laugh. Like, they can be cut up into little sketches and put on TikTok and whatever, but they're not like, it is like little 10 minutes that it's little standalone 10-minute episodes. Yeah.
But that's the joy of screen time, and the sketches that kind of predated screen time it is about the frustration of dealing with the digital world. So I think like Gen X and the millennials, we are the ones who are like, we weren't brought up on it. This is still a bit different
Yeah.
to us. Whereas kids today are like, they come out the fucking womb with a phone in their hand. You know, they know exactly what they're doing. And we're like, I don't understand how I've ordered this dress, which is one of the things that comes up. And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, they're not as annoyed by it. They're probably struggling without realising that it's phones, or realising that they can't kind of disconnect, because there's no differentiation between their life and online. It's all the same thing. Whereas for us, I think we're aware of the time before, and we're aware that it's not good. And like, I'm aware that my attention span is now so bad. So that's why screen time is so fast, because it's like, I wanted to make it feel like I feel when I've been on my phone too much. My brain almost feels like it's going to be sick. Like, it's like,
yes.
like, oh, you know, you get TikTok is really bad. Like, you sort of feel kind of ill in your head. Like, you actually feel this feeling. And hopefully screen time doesn't make you feel ill in your head, because there's little bits break where me and Lola are actually chatting. But those in your phone, and it's so helpful as well, because it means if you write like a bad punchline, you can just be like, let's just cut halfway through a word because the person has scrolled something else. You're like, oh yeah, great.
So this is a pilot, and I'm hopeful that means there will be more.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. I'm on my way to Hollywood right now to make it into a film, a Marvel film. No, and we've actually we are talking to like a couple of people, as in relevant, but not like random people, as in channels and things, to just try to, so we're talking to a couple of people to hopefully get money to make more, that's the main thing. I want to just have money to make more, and for it to be something that isn't like compromised into being something different. Like, I want to be able to make 10 minutes of that again, and we have like, you know, it build, and there's like a little through line of sort of a little plot running through it, but it's basically a phone sketch show. And I really like the idea of it being for people's phones, but I know that is also quite difficult to do. So we're just talking through a lot of different options. What's been nice is the response has been so excellent, and so I felt really like, well, if it doesn't get made, then at least I've made something that people I respect and would like to think I'm good have gone, that's good. I'm like, well, that's all I need. I just need like a little badge, like at school, you know, like a excellent work.
Good. It's very important. Also, I've watched it like 3 or 4 times now and picked up new things each time. And it's not because I'm stupid. I do know how to watch something, but
it's
there's
too
loads
fast.
in it.
It's too fast. It's too fast. Yeah, no, it is too fast. And we meant to. Like at the last minute, I was like, oh, we should like a director's commentary of it where me and Lola like talk. And I thought that would be fun, because there were some really funny things that happened when we were filming it. Then it seemed really navel-gazing. So the director's commentary is just stupid. It's like, there's now another layer, which is actually on top of the 70 layers. And it's probably too many layers. But that's my dream, to be able to like get money to make it, and also alongside have a silly director's commentary running throughout it as well. So you've got like, you can watch the series, then you can also watch the series over the top of the series, where me and actual Lola have a little plot going over the top of like, just enough that people explode. I want people to explode
good.
and not
make
and
us
not understand
more
it.
in the head. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, I watched the director's commentary and had a hashtag lovely time. And actually, Lola asked you a question in the director's commentary of Screen Time that I was going to ask you anyway, and I am going to ask it, but I'm not going to give any context for people who haven't seen Screen Time yet, and they just need to go and watch it. And the question is this: did your bum hurt?
Yeah, my bum hurt, and because it was very thin material. I won't give any context either. Very thin material, so they were worried it was actually going to rip, and I was worried that my bum would rip through it. So then we put it on wheels, and then it was so loud that and we did it we ran really over. So, and we didn't have a license to film in that studio, in that street. So we didn't have any budget. So the old one came out. Well, quite a few people came out and shouted out. And it was just me being pulled along. Like, sorry.
Okay, so listeners, if you want to know what that is about, you should watch Screen Time. You should watch it anyway. It is on the YouTube. Watch it on your phone, do what you're supposed to do, but it still works on a laptop. Or, you know, maybe get your mates round on a big projector screen. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
I think that would work.
Yeah.
That would work.
That would work, yeah, definitely.
Okay, next, tell us what happens when you and Tessa Coates get together on your podcast, Nobody Panic.
Oh, magic and fun.
It's true.
No, it's great. It's great. It's nice because we've been friends for a long, long time. And now we've figured out that, like, well, we had to start hanging out socially more intentionally, because basically what happens is when we do Nobody Panic, it's like we're hanging out. So we hang out like intensely for like 8 hours for the first Monday of every month. And then we're like, right, we're done. Then we just don't hang out anymore. Like, we also do need to see each other and have a fun time. But no, it's great. It's one of my favourite things to do, and I cannot believe that we are still able to do it this amount of time. We've been here for 7 years now. How are there still how-tos that we haven't? I mean, we are scraping about, like, this. The last episode that came out was, also the context is we have a podcast which is a comedy self-help podcast, and each episode is how-to. And in between the normal ones, we're starting to sneak in these, like, mad, incredibly niche ones. And the last one, Tessa's been tutoring her cousin through a particular GCSE exam paper. So I was like, we could do it as a bonus, but like, we shouldn't do it as a main episode. And then it came out as a main episode, and it's how to pass the GCSE Shakespeare (brackets the Tempest) exam, AQA at Excel. And Tessa just teaches me how to pass the Tempest exam. Very funny if you have got no idea about any. Learned a lot.
Well, I haven't listened to that one, but I have listened to quite a lot of them, and it's genuinely really good advice. And I'm sorry that I sound surprised there, but I was.
Well, I think there's a lot of podcasts on there about things like that, and so we do try to make it like genuinely helpful.
It is genuinely helpful. So, what are your how to be a grown-up qualifications? Why am I taking advice from you?
I don't have any. So it started in like 2014 when all of that like adulting stuff was quite new and fresh, shall we say? Because I used to work at The Debrief, which is like a online women's magazine that then sadly went under, and Nobody Panic started as The Debrief podcast. And so we would be paid to basically do a companion podcast for their magazine. I think it was like 26. And we would like messes. And that was the point. Like we were quite exceptionally messes, even by the standards of normal mess. Like we just didn't know anything. And we would learn stuff and get people in and like help. And then as we've got older, what's nice is I think the podcast has taught us quite a lot. And so I find myself in situations where I'll be like, this is what we say in the podcast. Like, you've got to, it's become so about like perspective now. And like pretty much everything is like, we did an episode about, I just really don't like having baths. And Tessa's like really into them, like in a weird way. Like she has like the half bath, which is where she wears clothes and a hat and just Winnie the Poohs it and gets in a shallow bath.
That's not a thing. You said that to me as if it was a thing. That's eccentricity,
It really is. And she's done that like while I've been around her house. Like I've come around for a visit and then she's like, what, 1 second? And then she's just in the bath. So I thought that would be just like a light-hearted fun episode. And then it just became this thing, like everything does. It became so inside. Like I actually didn't like baths because it turns out that I've got this idea of what having a bath is, and it's got to be perfect, and it's like scented candles. And actually, it's not about the bath. It's about the bath of my mind. And it's about like changing the perspective and lowering my expectations and doing what I want to do and having the assertiveness to go, this is what I can have a bath however I like. Like, for example, Tessa in a hat. But I'm much more anxious.
Do that.
No, I won't. I mean, I did try it. It was weird. It was a weird feeling. But I'm much more anxious and like perfectionist. And Tessa is sort of incredibly eccentric. And so it works as it's just me for an hour being like, what, Tessa, what? And then, but also she her way of living is like rubbed off on me and like really, yeah. So like I think there's something in that about like there's no qualifications, but I think it's quite nice to hear people like genuinely trying to work through stuff, not in that kind of like we're just two comedians and we're just going to chat. Like we actually do chat, but we do want to work out the issue and drill down deep into it. Like recently we recorded one where, because Tessa froze her eggs and it made me go, I think I'm going to freeze my eggs. And then I did freeze my eggs, had a nightmare at the time, was like, actually we have to do a follow-up because we've been like, it's actually, you know, the process is fine, but I found the process harrowing. So now we have to do the Stevie's harrowing version for everybody to listen to, you know, like, so it's very much born of our own experience and we get it wrong all the time. I've spoken a lot there, sorry.
And I love that the kind of the rapport that you have with Lola and with Tessa is just so engaging and so contagious. It's lovely. And you do deal with issues, even in Screen Time, which is very fast and kind of talking about our throwaway culture. I was delighted to see some class warrior content in there. As a fellow working class northerner, I was like, oh, hello.
That's my... So I have this thing where it's like, I want everything to be as broad as possible, and I don't want to... So I don't really do anything political particularly. Like, I just want to make people laugh. And I want to make you laugh, like, regardless of how you are or what you feel like. But I've really found... Lola's, like, working class from Croydon, and Tessa very much isn't. But, like, I've really found my, like... That is my chip on my shoulder, which we did in Nobody Panic episode, which is how to remove the chip from your shoulder. Because I was like, it is very much money.
What else are you up to? Because I know, obviously, you still are a jobbing comic as well.
I am. I haven't written, like, a jobbing stand-up business for, like, a long, long, long time. Since, like, 2019. But I've just started making another show. I'm doing gigs and stuff, and then going to do, like, a little work in progress at the Soho Theatre in London.
Oh, nice.
The end of July. Then I might have a little break, and then next year I'm probably gonna have that as a proper show and maybe do a little tour, maybe do a bit of the Fringe, yeah. And then I just have like writing jobs and stuff on the go where I write stuff for other comedians or write stuff that I'm currently developing myself, and constantly wanting to write a novel and not doing it. Like, so that's basically it.
And where can people keep an eye on what you're up to and find out when that novel is due, please?
Sure, yeah. On my social media, I'm at Stevie M. The S is a 5. I regret it, but it is what it is.
Stevie, thank you so much for chatting with me. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you for having me.